Okay, so I'm gonna do some inlays here, and so this is a soapstone block, and this is typically how I get it. This came from Lee Valley here in Canada. And what I do is I smash it all up with a hammer into a powder like this. And then I'll fill any of the recesses with it and then hit it with the thin CA glue. This is Stir-Bond stuff. And, you know, the accelerator, and I'll fill it again and hit it with the glue, and then accelerator, and so on, and fill in all these voids. And I know all you purists out there are probably saying, oh, I can't believe he's doing that to that burl. I find that it gives a lot more visual interest, so that's why I do it. So this burl is actually quite heavy on this side, so I've got it in a little block here so it won't fall out. So anyway, I'll put a little bit of accelerator in, some of the inlay material, and again, this is soapstone. And I don't pack it in tight. I want the glue to flow through it and completely saturate the inlay. A little more. More glue. Just a little bit more. I want it to be proud of the surface a bit. That should do it. Accelerator. Now it will depend. Sometimes it'll cure up pretty fast. It also depends on the materials you're inlaying. The soapstone, when it's a really thick inlay, I typically like to leave it till the next day. And but anyway, when it's curing, it's hot, and essentially when that heat stops and you're pushing on it and it feels hard, it's probably safe to turn then. And there still are some punky areas in this burl. I didn't think that it had the dry rot in it, but it does have, you know, actually a fair bit. But I'll hit it with the glue again, the CA glue, and that will harden it up. And you noticed previously how the fumes from this, when it cures, the fumes are very bad, and that goes for all CA glues. When they cure, yeah, make sure you use it in a well-ventilated area, because it can be very aggressive. So anyway, I've got a few of these to do. I plan on doing all these outside ones as well. That's essentially how you can fill in all these voids, and you know, it gives the bowl some really nice contrast, especially when the finishes are done. Now this is going to take a lot of finish because it's quite soft in areas, so I'll use the solid bowl finish on it. But it's going to take probably 4 or 5 coats, I'm assuming. Okay, so we're mounted back on the lathe. I think the soapstone and CA glue is hardened now. We'll know when we start to get into it. There's a couple ways you can go about this right now. You can take a gouge and cut this back. Just know that you're probably only going to get one pass on your gouge, and then you probably have to sharpen. Or you can go right to sanding, starting at 60 grit, and remove the bulk of this first, and then continue sanding the bowl. Regardless, you're probably going to have to inlay this, fix little voids and stuff 2 or 3 times at least before it's actually completely filled in a solid piece of soapstone again. So I'm going to gouge, I guess. Yeah, I'll take my my Ellsworth gouge, and we'll cut this back and see what we're dealing with. Hopefully it's cured. It's been 2 hours. Well, let's find it. Okay, so a little tough cutting clean. I mean, this soapstone with the CA glue is now a lot harder than the surrounding wood, so you get a lot of tool bounce from it. This isn't too bad. I'm trying to do some shear cuts where it's like in this orientation. That way it's long slices coming off. Yeah. Anyway, I find it's one of the most effective ways to try and cut the surface that's really got some end grain that's torn in it. So I'll take this back over, fill it again, and then I'll probably proceed to sanding after that. So like I said, on the back side, I'll probably fill this and then go right to sanding. All right, so we're back on the lathe. I've applied the CA glue again and filled it in with soapstone wherever it was needed. And we're going to start sanding. Now I'm going to start with 60 grit. And what I'll do is I'll go over these areas first before I turn the lathe on and get it spinning, and then continue on sanding. So I'll do the inside and outside 60, 80, 120, 180, 240, 320, and then usually I find 320 is good enough. Okay, so off camera, I've sanded this to 320, including all the edge. I'll still have to break this with some sandpaper when we get done. So I'm just going to finish filling in any of these little voids that are here. So like I said, I've sanded to 320. I'll put the glue in, just a powder and some CA glue, and then take that over, sand these parts, and just blend it all in afterwards. This is going to be really, really nice when the finish gets on it. I don't know if you can see those voids. All right, last step is to break all the edges with 320 and get into any areas that you can't get into, that I couldn't get into with the drill and the sander. You should be ready for finish. Okay, we're down to the best part, and I put the finish on. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you'll know that I use General Finishes salad bowl finish. That's my preferred finish. I put it in these squeeze bottles. So anyway, yeah, this is the best part. What I'll do with the first coat is I'm going to really saturate the wood with this. It'll sit overnight, and second and possibly third coat tomorrow. This will take a minimum of 3 coats. I'm hoping that it only takes 3 because I gotta get this video uploaded. So I have the luxury of a variable speed lathe, so I just dial it right down, flood the surface. And what I will do is I'll wipe off any excess. Do these high wings as well. And this, like the CA glue, will help to harden things up, any soft areas. But I can tell it just keeps sucking it up, so yeah. I find a bowl always comes alive when you put the finish on it. And that is one of the reasons why I use a product like this. It's a very durable finish. It is food safe. It is meant to be used. Now this bowl is probably more on the decorative side, that's for sure. But if you want to, you can put some fruit in it, that kind of stuff. But these bowls, I find when people do that, you cover up all this inlay. I mean, that's what makes this really unique. You could turn a burl and leave these voids, and I know a lot of people that think that it's wrong to maybe even fill these in, but like I said earlier, I really like the visual contrast. So do my customers, so I'll keep doing it. There you go, that's the first coat. So what do you think of that? A little hard to see. So I've been doing inlays like this for over 20 years. And I'll be honest with you, when I first took this out of the kiln, I noticed that it was quite light, and I'm like, it's probably got some dry rot in it. And it did. And I was going to pass on it and go to something else. So I said, along with doing the inlays, I'll show how you can stabilize pieces with thin CA glue too. And of course I use the Ster-Bond stuff. There's probably about 6 ounces total of glue to stabilize this. But you know, and it's still got some areas where the grain got pulled out of it, or just there was no grain at all. It was starting to rot that bad. But now it's good and hard. This has got 5 coats of solid finish on it by General Finishes. The bottom has been signed and done, but it still requires probably another 2 or 3 coats. And that is typically how I sign my bowls. Be proud of your work, sign your work. So of course I put my name, the wood description, if there's an inlay I put that, and they're numbered. And of course I put Canada on them because I'm Canadian. Now of course I could have left the bark on this. There was pieces of it that were missing, and some of the bark that was on there was already loose. So, you know, I made the decision to take it all off. It's a lot more work when you take the bark off, because then now you got to sand this all back, clean it all up down in here. It's certainly a cleaner product as far as functional is concerned, if you wanted to use it for function. This is purely a decorative object. You know, you could probably put some fruit in it, but that's about it. I wouldn't do anything else with that. It'd be nice in a bowl stand. So this is the first video in a series of videos that I'm going to be doing on inlays. And I thought I'd get the hardest one out of the way first. Believe me, I was really surprised that it took the finish that it did, even with the stabilization from the CA glue. If you like what you've seen today, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I got a thick skin. I might even strip maybe some of the shine off. We'll see. I think it may need one more coat. I'll put that on my vacuum chuck. And yeah, if you don't have a vacuum chuck and you do a lot of bowls, I highly recommend getting one. It's a lot easier to do the bottoms of the bowls. No screw holes or anything like that. So yeah, don't forget Facebook, Instagram, at Sprague Woodturning. Check me out there. And I'm not sure what the next one's going to be, but it's probably going to be another inlay. So stay tuned, stay safe, and let me know what you think. See ya.